der zentralen Position, muss Schwarzer unter der Vorsicht, dann ist es Freiburg, der ist im Strafraum, Tor! Tor! Für die Frankfurter Eintracht, 5:1, herrlich!
Hi and welcome to the German Fußball Podcast. Another week, another fantastic Bundesliga weekend with a lot of drama, with a lot of controversy, we must say, Dad. But before we go into, I think, the incident we all know we're going into, before that, give us a little status update where you are in the world.
Yes, first of all, I think it's great to be back after there's a lot of things happening in the German Bundesliga this weekend. But I, of course, was first in England. I went to Leicester. I was in Leicester doing Leicester against Manchester City. No Erling Haaland. He had what they said was a bruised ligament, something to do with Germany as well, because that was the tackle of Emre Can, I guess, who made that. I think I could see that in the face of Erling, that the good old Emre Can tackle took him out of that game. And Kevin De Bruyne made it again for Manchester City with a fantastic goal. Put myself in the train, went down to London, and then I did Arsenal against Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
Nottingham Forest, getting confused now by your club, Arsenal. I have to say your club, and they're winning 5-0. And there were a lot of things happening there. I think the thing they did to send a message to Pablo Mari was very good. He was stabbed on Thursday in Milan out shopping, which was a terrible story. It looks like he's doing okay, but I like the way Arsenal did that. I also like the way Arsenal played 5-0. It was a fantastic game, and Nelson, Reece Nelson, with 2 goals and 1 assist in 8 minutes. Not bad when you haven't done it for years, but fantastic and good for you guys, you Arsenal fans. But now I'm in Munich because I'm doing Sky tomorrow, and we're discussing Champions League and German themes, and then I'm going on Wednesday. I'm going to Milano. Because Salzburg is playing AC, and I try to give the Austrians a bit hope, because I'm thinking back of 1996. You were 2 years old, Markus, but then there was a club, Rosenborg Trondheim, went to San Siro. They had to win in the last game before Christmas to stay in the Champions League over the winter, and they had a fantastic team, AC Milan, at that time. And what happened? Rosenborg won 2-1. Vegard Hegem, he was flying through the air in Milano, and they made him win 2-1. So that is the hope I give the young Salzburg team going into San Siro. And you, Markus, what are you doing on the weekend?
Well, I was in Windsor, as one is, during a weekend, Windsor Castle, and got to soak in the royal history of the UK before I moved to London, where I think we will have more of a consistent office or studio, for my liking at the very least, before I move in now at the Moxie Airport at Heathrow Airport, Moxie Hotel at the Heathrow Airport. So as it is, like father, like son. But I guess we go into the Bundesliga, and let's not beat around the bush, Dad. What is going on in that 42nd minute? 1-1.
I have to put on my glasses.
An intriguing game.
An
intriguing game. A good end-to-end stuff. Both teams coming off good Bundesliga victories, good Champions League victories. We discussed how Eintracht is rising in form. And Eintracht deserved to get something from that, didn't they, Dad?
Well, first of all, this, I have to say, I'm not neutral, because everybody will say you just say that because you played for Eintracht Frankfurt. Yes, I'm a great ambassador for Eintracht Frankfurt. I love that club. But this game, Brandt made it 1-0. Okay, Dortmund sometimes do that. Kamada, who has a fantastic season for Eintracht, made it 1-1. But in the 42nd minute, it's just like unbelievable. It's Jesper Lindström, who is on fire for Frankfurt this season, the Dane. The goal is open. Adeyemi, an offensive player going down, doing tackles, just by the suspicion, you should know that would be a free kick anyway. Then it's going to be a penalty. He tackled him, but he's fouling him. And the referee, Sascha Stegemann, and VAR, they somehow find out that it's not a penalty. I mean, there's not many. I mean, VAR can be discussed can be discussed. Decisions can be discussed. We do that. That is a part of football. But that is like unbelievable. And people, I will get them. Maybe Marcus, you can do a link or whatever you can do and put it on this German football podcast to show that. It's like unbelievable that they didn't foul them. That would be 2-1, or at least it would be a penalty for Frankfurt. The discussion has gone unbelievable intense the last couple of 3 days in Germany. They have a program called Double Pass, who is Sunday morning. They had a referee. To be fair to him, the referee put himself off and said, "This is unbelievable that I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I haven't decided yet. I'm happy when the referee is doing that, or I just want him to be in a corner, say nothing." But he came out. The thing is, Marcus, that it's all over the papers now about VAR as a thing. This is, I don't know if you can read this, but you can see this is Kicker. Kicker comes out on a Monday, and they say VAR Ärger ohne Ende. It's like VAR is, people are furious. There is no and they actually talking about, should this be the end of VAR? I'll just put my perspective on that, Marcus. I think that VAR is a good idea. I think there's a VAR is in a modern age. We can take away a lot of mistakes. But mind you, we have to find a way that they just take the clear and obvious thing. And sometimes they come in for small things and you get annoyed. A lot of examples of that as well. You had Sven Ulreich, the Bayern Munich goalkeeper. Somehow they found out that he has knocked down a Mainz attacker. Okay, was that clear and obvious? Not even close. But it can't be clearer than this one. And the funny thing, Marcus, when I arrived to Germany today, Adeyemi, the man who fouled Jesper Lindstrom, he said after the game, as footballers do, no, I think the referee was right. And the pressure was so intense now lately that he put on an Instagram saying, "I was wrong. I fouled him." Can you imagine that? So he says after the game, he says, "No, it's not a foul, no penalty." So 2 days later, he goes out on record and saying, "I was wrong." He was not saying the referee was wrong, but he's saying he was wrong too. So that was bad. Having said that, Dortmund can't do anything about it. There's nothing to do with Dortmund. Kobel had a great game again, but at the end of the day, the result will always be Eintracht Frankfurt 1, Dortmund 2. I will say to Frankfurt fans, if you keep on playing like this, you will get a lot of points because they played fantastic. Talking about fantastic, Jude Bellingham get a winner again. He's scoring goals for fun. He's doing this thing that people do, kissing the logo of Dortmund. And the analysis, was that right now, Marcus?
Yes.
Analysis of that is also going high in Dortmund. Does he say that because he wants to stay there forever? Does he say that because he wants to do a signal? You never know. Marcus, I love Jude Bellingham. He's one of the most polite players I've ever played. I got a high liking for him. As I was following Dortmund with Erling Haaland, I almost saw all the games last 2-3 years. And Jude Bellingham is a one of a kind. And can I just suggest what I think will happen with Jude Bellingham? Although
hit us with it.
Yeah, I think that because he doesn't have a clause, and Jude Bellingham is only 19, Dortmund is desperate to keep him. He's a sensible lad. I think they will do the Cristiano Ronaldo trick on him. What is the Cristiano Ronaldo trick? Yes, because back in the days, I was one of the first I said, I think that they will do a deal with Cristiano Ronaldo because he was linked up to Real Madrid. This is like ages ago. Mm-hmm. And then I say, I think that Sir Alex Ferguson will go to Cristiano Ronaldo, stay for 1 more year, and you can go the next summer. I think that is the most likely that Dortmund fans can hope for now. That is
even on a free. Even on a free.
No, he's not on a free. I think his contract is to 25, isn't it? I think it's to 25.
Okay, I thought it was 24, but we'll check.
Now Harry Kane is 24. So okay. Jude Bellingham is to 25. So I think that they will go to him and say, listen, you stay another year. We let you go next season after that. So that means that he will go in 24, summer of 24. I think that is most likely the outcome. As you are checking now, I can see that.
We have to check. We owe the audience
that.
Of
course.
Let's see. You are right. You are right.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, he's 25. Yeah, I know. 25. No clause in his contract. So what's needed to be said on that, it's all up to Dortmund. Dortmund can say yes or no, because there is no clause as there was with Erling Haaland. But we all know that today there was in the paper, I'm in Germany as we speak, as I said, Bild Zeitung, Jörg Weiler is the Dortmund-based journalist of Bild Zeitung. He's writing today that if he's in the market, if they just feel we have to let him go, they want 150 million euro. Mm-hmm. Meaning that is only one or two clubs that could pay that. If it goes for 150, that will make Manchester City a favorite, because you just feel that they will have that kind of money. But it's interesting to follow. But this is not a transfer episode. We have that in a special today as well, Marcus. So
exactly.
Go on.
We'll move on. But should be noted, just last thing on Bellingham, he's third of the season in the Bundesliga after his brace against Stuttgart last season. Before that, he hadn't actually scored in the Bundesliga since January of 2021. But for Eintracht,
a lot in the Champions League.
Exactly.
I saw
Marcus. Bundesliga.
Exactly, but I like they say on Twitter, I see what you do there. But I saw Jude Bellingham was asked. The reason I do that, because I know the pitch side interview, I know that feeling. And the reporter, she said exactly what you said, and I saw on face of Jude Bellingham, he didn't like that, and he said, well, I've just scored in some cup games, and meaning Champions League and the German Cup. Yeah,
fair play. Yeah, you can check our Bellingham transfer update with Fabrizio on the YouTube channel exclusively. If we move on, and we dare not repeat ourselves, but when you repeat yourself like Bayern are in these last 6 games, 6 consecutive wins now, like they are, and it's not like they are playing the likes of Bochum or a Schalke. No disrespect to these out of form clubs, somewhat relatively speaking. They are beating clubs that we have hyped up on this podcast, and rightly so, because they're in the top. But we're talking about the likes of Mainz. We're talking about the likes of a Freiburg, beating not Dortmund, but anyway, being in the top there. It's such statement wins. It's not even close. What more is there to say about it, Dad?
It's to say that in those 6 games they've won, they've scored all 4 goals in average, which is unbelievable. That is a statement. It's also Sven Ulreich, the goalkeeper. He's been understudy. Is that what I call it in English, Marcus? Yep. Understudy. He's been the understudy of Manuel Neuer. And the update on Manuel Neuer, that today on a Monday, he had his first training session. He trained hard for them. He had a good session. I think he is desperate to go to World Cup. Of course he is, but he's even more desperate to get a couple of games under his belt. I got a feeling that he won't be playing this week in the Champions League. They're playing Inter at home. But I think he will try to get a couple of Bundesliga games before the World Cup. A very important player, of course, for Germany at the World Cup. There is also to say, Marcus, there is 6 different goal scorers winning 6-2 against Mainz with Bo Svensson, a coach we both like a lot. Mané had just get it in for Liverpool fans. He had 1 goal and 2 assists. Musiala scored again. 10 goals
Bayern's
this
top
season.
Scorer for Bayern's top scorer this season.
Can you believe that? I mean, unbelievable. And Choupo-Moting scoring again, scored a 6-2 goal. The number 9 they didn't know they had. And we spoke to Florian Plettenberg at Sky in our special episode that we will recommend as well. That is coming out more or less on the same time as this summary. He said he's not sure that Choupo will extend his contract. His contract is up next summer, so we will see what's happening there. But 6-2 against Mainz. Mainz got a penalty, as I said. Sven Ulreich, I didn't understand that. They missed that goal, but they scored in the corner. But it was 3-0, 3-1, and then 6-2 at the end. So, like you said, Mark, it's an unbelievable statement. And just in between here, they won in Barcelona as well. Barcelona just had a little hope because they knew that Inter would beat Pilsen, but the way they went there with nothing to play for, it was just a statement, and I think that is the word of the day, how they also did at Camp Nou.
Yeah, it's what we would associate with Bayern traditionally, especially over the last few years. And just a little personal note, I remember going to the first and only time I believe I've been to the Allianz was Bayern against Mainz. An intriguing 0-0 draw. Can you believe it? Choupo-Moting was playing up top for Mainz that day. And I remember watching this guy, Choupo-Moting. And at the time I was, okay, who is this? And the physique and the way he just manhandled these Bayern center backs. I remember at the time, it's not often you like come away from games, you think, wow, that performance. But I remember him just the way. And now you see he uses that with also a great link-up play, which Bayern have seemed to benefit greatly from since he's come into the team.
And he had a fantastic career because he was at Mainz. He was the Mainz with Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel took PSG. Suddenly he got Choupo to PSG, and everybody was laughing. You need all the big stars, and Tuchel loved him and took him there. He was an understudy there as well, doing his stuff. He is a fantastic character. Cameroon, I guess, he got like 60, 70 games for Cameroon, caps for them. Always with a smile. But as Nagelsmann has told us, I said the number 9 we didn't know that they will have. He's always on the door of Nagelsmann, asking him, why don't you play me? And then when he finally got his chance, well, fair play to him. He delivered the goods, and he's a great character to have around. And after the PSG, everybody thought, well, that was his lucky move. What is happening then? Yeah, Bayern take him on as an understudy there as well. Then an understudy for Lewandowski, and then Bayern said, we won't play with the number 9. Now they have the number 9. And to be fair, at this moment, there is no way. Maybe they will save him this week because in the Champions League there's not a lot to play for. But as they are playing now, there is no way you can't have him in the team, because that is the unwritten rule of a football team. If you are performing, you should stay in the team.
Absolutely, and don't forget his brief stint at Stoke City as well. As we move on.
Can you do it on a wet night?
Yeah, apparently not, or not. We'll see. We'll have a Stoke fan and ask them about that. But Bayern, through that win, they had the top of the league position for a brief day until Union just keep on going. They're still top of the league, a 97th winner. And it took them a while to get back. It took them they equalized in the 79th minute through Behrens, and in the 97th minute, Duki comes through and scores. And the scenes that unraveled, Gladbach were close to getting a point, and Union keep going. And if it was any other team, if it was a Dortmund or a Bayern, we say, yeah, but that's what championship teams do. I guess we are allowed to still indulge in the prospect that they might be up there still.
I think that you will go, and we will always say, Marcus, if you're going to recommend a team to support, if you don't have one in Germany, go for Union Berlin. Fantastic place. I said it before. I was there with Uwe Rössler in East Berlin. Fantastic place to go. It's that familiar atmosphere. It's a small stadium, singing and love. And yes, 97th minute, Farke is in his first crisis at Gladbach. I think that was his 3rd losses in a row. So get a draw away in Union will actually be quite good for him, but in the 97th minute. And you just feel, I mean, Bayern will always be relaxed. They will think that when they were 4 points after the leader, they will be worried if that was Leipzig or Dortmund. But Union Berlin, you just laugh and what will happen. But I think it's great. You see Freiburg winning 2-0. I mean, more predictable now at Schalke winning 2-0 there. But they're still up there, and I think that is great news for the Bundesliga. You hope when we are going to the World Cup that Bayern will not be too far ahead, so at least we can pretend there is a bit excitement who will win the Bundesliga trophy when everybody knows that at the end it will be Bayern. And thank God there was the 4 or 5 games Bayern players thought the same, so they kind of lower their energy, but the last 6 games on fire.
On fire. You mentioned Freiburg beat Schalke. Grifo with a brace. He's the all-time Italian goal scorer in the Bundesliga. And then we also have Leipzig, who beat a struggling Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso seems, after that initial first game, which seemed to say, okay, new manager in, and things got pretty normal, or bad normal, pretty quickly. Needs to be noted, though, Dad, is that Leipzig have played 9 competitive games in October. 9, which is a lot of games.
Yeah.
Unbeaten. 7 wins. 2 draws. Marco Rose is having quite the impact, and we discussed that ahead of this season in terms of his dismissal from Dortmund. And it's kind of nice to see someone that like that vindicate themselves, dare I say, at Leipzig.
Yeah, and I think by Leipzig, it's, first of all, I'm happy that Ross is doing that. I didn't like the way he was fired at Dortmund. I thought they were very impatient with him, although Terzic waiting in the wings to kind of get that job, to be a bit cruel to say that. But he's doing well. And I think the big challenge for Leipzig is all about to find the balance between the offensive player. They got a great offensive players and their defense. And to be fair, if you see the names there with they have at the back there, they should find the balance. And they managed to do that in October. And Nkunku and Timo Werner is seeing, after he took off the blue shirt and got the white shirt on, he's on fire, scoring again. On a personal note, or a Norwegian note, I come from a place in Norway called Sunnmøre. We are very proud of being from Sunnmøre. And a guy from Sunnmøre, a young goalkeeper, back in the days for Hud, Ørjan Nyland, our national goalkeeper, he came in after middle of the season because they needed a goalkeeper because of the injury to the first team goalkeeper. And now the second goalkeeper was having a problem, so he had to make his debut. Got a clean sheet, which was very important for him. Of course, good for Norway as well. Very happy for him. I always compliment him because he has had a bit struggle to find his way. He went to Ingolstadt. That was his first kind of with Ralf Hasenhüttl at Ingolstadt. At that time, I was a team manager. I went to visit him there, and it started a bit like goalkeepers. There is only one position. If you don't have the position, it's not like you can play a left back to get you going. So I'm very happy for him. And as you said, Marcus, Leipzig are there. They are contenders, of course. They should be contenders now to climb on the table as they are at the moment.
Absolutely. And what is there to say that about Leverkusen? I mean, there's high hopes for Xabi Alonso. I think we've concluded that Champions League is no spot for them to aspire to this season. But is it a matter of just damage limitation and keeping yourself up this season?
Sometimes we do forget that it's hard for any coach to start off. Yes, it's a good beginning. It's a good reference that you've been a top player. Alonso was one of the best players. He was also a general on the field when he played for Liverpool or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. I mean, fantastic addresses where he has played football. So you think that he have the all forutsetning. What is that in English, Marcus?
The circumstances, conditions, or whatever.
Conditions, yeah, the background, yeah, to be a great manager. But it just shows you that, first of all, it's hard to take over a team in the middle of the season, whoever you are. And secondly, the honeymoon as a coach, his honeymoon started with a 4-0 against Schalke. But everybody seems to be beating Schalke these days. But it was a good start for him. But since then, it's been sad and depressing. And you just hope that Alonso, he's one of the gentlemen of our game. It's good for the German football that he is there, and you need to get him back on a winning streak because it's not looking good for them if you have a look at the table in the Bundesliga.
Absolutely not. You mentioned also Leipzig's front line. That was Szoboszlai's 5th assist, second only behind the amazing Muani at Eintracht. And then you have Nkunku, who scores again, 9th of the season, tied with who other but Füllkrug at Werder Bremen, who scores in the 85th
He scored
minute.
again.
He scored again.
Yeah,
and Werder are tied. I mean, not tied, sorry. I think they've scored a league high 10 times in the final 8 minutes of matches. And they are the third highest scoring team in the Bundesliga. And I remember us speaking ahead of this season to the legend, the Moose, Rune Bratseth, your former teammate, your captain on the national team. And we were discussing and saying, maybe it's just a matter of staying up and maybe that should still be the priority. But they are doing it in intriguing fashion.
Somehow, and I'm in my I'm in my notes now, and I have a look at the magazine what they are writing about Werder Bremen, because there is something about the culture. When you kind of find that culture, you kind of, that is suddenly an advantage for you. When you are struggling, it's a disadvantage because everybody said this is the pressure, but as this is the new way we do it.
But it is incredible. There we go.
It's Nerven und Stärke, the nerves and the strength. Now suddenly that culture they do have is a fantastic attribute to the game. And Füllkrug again, it's so funny because as a striker, I remember it well back in the day. Sometimes when you don't score goals, and I said this before, you feel like you will never score again. Mm-hmm. You will never ever score again, never in your life. And you I remember when you were a kid, Marcus, but I would say to your mother, my wife, I would say, but what if I've never scored a goal again? And she said, what do you mean you'll never score again? And because that is your feeling you're having. But then in the opposite, that is the best feeling when you are in that flow. You know that the rebound will come to you. You know when you're heading, somehow that keeper was off his line and you score. And if you saw that Füllkrug goal on Friday, I mean, he scored like for a header, like felt it was 30 meters away from the goal. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just scores goals for fun. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role Hansi Flick will find if he find a place for him.
Surely,
for him anyway.
Yes, but in terms of for you having played 71 times for the national team, and you've been part of those times, and you see that predicament. We are close to that because of in England and Southgate having to pick players where he says, to what degree do you pick players that are in form versus players that have not let you down on the national team? And I'm thinking the likes of a Maguire. I would have said a Pickford, but Pickford's been better this season. But with Füllkrug now, when you say that feeling you have as a striker, you have to utilize someone who is in that form, don't you think?
Yes, and I think you have to find a balance. I think that is very important with the national team because you have your set of people you have around you who has deservedly been there for the national team. And yes, there are other rules for the national team to score for Germany against Croatia or France is differently than score against Hertha Berlin as he did this weekend. No disrespect, but you have the same in England now. You have the opposite thing. You have Gareth Southgate now with Raheem Sterling, who is not a bit out of form, and you're thinking, but he's always done the business for Gareth Southgate playing for England, and so Germany he will come down. But I think you can bring 26 players. Surely there got to be one or two places for players in form. And remember, this is differently. This is the first World Cup. It's in the middle of the season. So I think that when they select their squad, they have to think a bit differently. Who is in form? And a lot of players now have been injured. This is the middle of the season. Is your form going down? Is it a spiral going down? But I think that both Hansi Flick and Gareth Southgate will still think that I have a set of players that I've always trusted. And this is my favorite story because when in those terms, when Franz Beckenbauer, the legend of the Franz Beckenbauer, was the coach of Germany in 1990, they had so many good midfield players with Lothar Matthäus, the best player of the tournament. You had Uwe Bein, who nearly got a kick, but he was in there. Andy Möller, Thomas Hessler. I guess Littbarski was, probably. Littbarski must have been there, of course. And then there was the final. They're going to play Argentina Argentina at that point, somehow, this is 4 years after Maradona won the World Cup on his own. It was only Maradona and Claudio Caniggia. And this is too early for you, Marcus, but he scored a goal, Caniggia, against Brazil with Maradona. He was now getting a bit bigger. He was not at his best, meaning that he was still better than everybody else. But at his best, he was better than the all players in the universe. So they're going into the final, and you know that Argentina would play on penalties because they tried to do that all final, but that was not the point. So Franz Beckenbauer had this selection problem. Who should play in the final? He knew that whoever he would bring, they would be world class. But then he said, I'm going to play Thomas Hessler. Thomas Hessler, why do I choose him? And Franz Beckenbauer said, because he scored the decisive winner against Wales, who made us come to the World Cup. 1 year before, or half a year before, he scored the winner. And those kind of leadership, that gives me goosebumps even today, because I think that is about being a national coach. You have to take those things into it. This was a guy who helped you. This was a guy that helped you winning the World Cup. As Joachim Löw said to Mario Götze when he was to put him on in the final in the World Cup against Argentina in Brazil, he said to him, go and show them that you're better than Messi. Can you believe you say that to a guy? And in he comes, he gets the ball on his chest, and he scores the winner. And that's certainly giving me goosebumps today. Mario Götze, I don't think he will have maybe an outside chance now to come to the World Cup, but still fantastic. And I think that is the definition of being a national coach.
It will certainly be interesting to see who he goes with. A lot of good candidates, a lot of people, a lot of players coming out of the fold that we would have not thought of a year ago, the likes of a Khedira at Union and many others. But that will certainly be interesting when that time comes, and we'll be sure to cover that. But for now, I will let you enjoy the lovely hotel room in Munich, which you are so very, very good at. I will enjoy mine at Heathrow Airport. I think we're rather adaptable. I think we can deal with just a good bed and a TV, and we're all right.
And yeah, and you are doing, I like your work sofa surfing over a long time. So I wish you all the best in your new apartment. As you know, we brought your mother over for a weekend, and her statement was just, I can't believe you can live like this. And I say, so I'm happy for you, Marcus, that you have taken that away from me. The rest of you take it from your mom, and I'm happy for that as well. So, auf Wiedersehen, mein guter, liebevoller Sohn.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. And if you have any comments, any issues, themes that you want us to discuss, give us a comment, and we always reply to that. And if you know something that we don't know, which you probably do, just give us a shout.